Hey everybody, welcome to Inside Quests. I get asked a lot of questions about my routines, what I do, what I read. So today we're going to be covering the morning routine, what I do to optimize my day for success. The first thing, and this may be the most important thing and the most overlooked thing ever, I have not used an alarm to wake up in over a decade. So you've got to remember your brain needs a certain amount of sleep, and if you don't get that amount of sleep, you can actually test the cognitive decline. So step number one is really treating sleep like one of the most important things you're going to do. You want to get to bed early so that you don't have to be pressured to set an alarm to make it to work on time or whatever the case may be. So if you've got to go to bed at 8 p.m., go to bed at 8 p.m. I know how terrifying that sounds to you, but I'm going to have to be honest. If you're not prepared to prioritize sleep, then you're not prepared to do the things you need to do to be successful. Once I wake up, I use waking up as the very trigger that reminds me to work out. I work out every day, but I'm not one of those guys that really loves working out. But working out is so powerful. In fact, it's one of the most powerful things that you can do for yourself. I'll put it second only to reading. So I get up. First thing, as soon as I roll out of bed, I go straight to the gym and I start working out. Now, the reason working out is so powerful, there's tons of research. You can start with the book Spark by John Rady, who's actually been on the show. Incredibly powerful book that draws parallels between exercise and cognitive performance and how it can have massive impacts. And just some really, really powerful stories in that book. So can't encourage enough for you to read that. Another IQ guest, Norman Doidge, has talked a lot about the brain and how it heals itself. In fact, in his book called The Way the Brain Heals, talking about how walking specifically and exercise in general can have a tremendous impact on the brain's ability to rewire itself. So not only is there just neurological science behind why getting exercise is so powerful, but beyond that, moving into some softer science, I will tell you that developing discipline is one of the most critical things that you need to be successful. Being successful comes with a litany of things that you're not going to want to do, but you're going to have to do them anyway. You're going to have to push yourself when you don't want to. You're going to have to get out of bed when you'd rather lay in bed. You're going to have to work on that Saturday when your friends are out partying and you'd rather be partying. But there's that awesome quote, don't sell out what you want most for what you want right now. And discipline is going to be the thing that allows you to do that. But you need an area in which you can train that discipline. Nothing comes without training. Not discipline, nothing. Not even a great relationship. Even a great relationship, a relationship based on love and chemistry and all these amazing things, I still think needs training to get great. And having to show up every day at the gym develops that discipline. Having to lift long past the point of fatigue, having to push yourself long past the point of pain, having to get disciplined about your diet to make sure that you see results from the exercise, all of it is feeding into strengthening your discipline and having those little wins of, whoa, I couldn't curl this weight yesterday, but I can curl it today. That kind of thing really helps to build your confidence. And as I'm sure you guys have heard before, and I'm sure as you feel in your gut, when you've got confidence, you hold yourself differently, you think about yourself differently, you act differently, and that confidence is born of those little wins. And if you can put yourself in situations where you can have these small incremental victories every day, and you're pushing yourself and you're seeing the results not only of getting a victory, but you're seeing the physical changes that your body goes through, it's going to reconceptualize your internal narrative. And that internal narrative is everything. And simply going to the gym every day, you get to change the story you tell yourself about yourself. Now, to me, it's not enough to exercise the body, you've got to exercise the mind. And in fact, to me, the body is but a reflection of the mind. And if I could only work one or the other, the body or the mind, I would choose the mind. So right after I finish working out, I go and I meditate. And the reason that I meditate is I'm trying to strengthen and build and most importantly, calm my mind. And that's something that I think people forget about. We live in a fast-paced world. We prize when our mind is racing and it's going fast and we're solving problems quickly. But it is absolutely essential to slow down sometimes. It's absolutely essential to find calm. Not just to find it, to cultivate being calm. And when you can do that, when you can go from this hyper-strenuous, uber-intense activity where you're lifting weights and you're pushing yourself past the point of exhaustion, past the point of failure, and then follow it up with calming yourself, getting centered, grounding yourself, and just letting go. It's a beautiful juxtaposition first. It strengthens your ability to change gears so that if you find yourself in a stressful situation, you're able to very quickly change gears into being centered, in being calm, and then you can address the situation as it needs to be addressed. But if you only know how to amp yourself up, to get excited, to really tackle something, you're missing the whole other side of the equation. And to get into just a brief bit of the science, as you get amped up, especially if you're getting amped up by anxiety, your prefrontal cortex is actually shutting down. And the prefrontal cortex is what's in charge of your higher level cognition, your willpower, your higher level thoughts, judgment, behavior control, impulse control. All of those things are handled by the prefrontal cortex, which is shutting off as you're growing anxious or when the fight or flight response is kicked in. So if you can learn to calm yourself in those moments, to get the blood flowing back to the prefrontal cortex again, to maintain control of your impulses, your emotions, then you're able to get from the situation what you want. And these are all things that you're able to practice by doing meditation. Then for me, it's heading straight into work. Now, the important part of this is that you need to have positioned yourself so that work is the thing that's helping you create your compelling future, because you're never going to rush in with enthusiasm to your job if you hate your job. And if it's, just drudgery and you try to get through it and collect a paycheck and live for the weekend, you're never gonna have that sustained enthusiasm, that burst of energy that you're gonna need to go in and kill it. And for me, business is nothing other than the testing ground for the skills that I'm acquiring. To me, the very purpose of life, the very meaning of life, in fact, is to see how many skills can I acquire that have utility and put that utility to the test. And for me, the business that we're building here is my training ground. It's the place where I'm going to put my skills to the test. It's also the filter to know which skills I need to acquire, right? In order to end metabolic disease, what skills do I really need to acquire? What as a business are we going to need to do? And what's the gap between who I am today and who I need to become? So I'm out there in my off time garnering those skills, and then I come into this like a playground, if I'm honest, a training ground to be certain, and I'm practicing those things that I've learned, and I'm trying them out, and I'm seeing what works. And if it doesn't work, I discard it or get better at it. If it could work, if I got better, or if it's just not gonna work, no matter how good I get, I discard it and I find that next skill and I try that and I push. And that for me is work. But that gets you my morning routine into the office and a brief overview of how I treat the office. Would love to hear comments from you guys. What do you do? What does your morning routine look like? What works for you? What doesn't work? Share with the community. If you have questions, if you don't feel that your morning routine is optimized, let us know what you're doing and get people's feedback. I'm sure there's going to be some amazing answers that come out of the people that are part of this community. All right, guys, as always, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. And until next time, my friends, be legendary. Take care.